You're listening to FAMcast, the For All Manakind podcast, with your hosts, the competitive spirit, Trey Simpson, our own devil's advocate, Tim Weber, and the hopelessly optimistic Trevor Jorgensen. This is FAMcast.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to FAMcast. This is episode 71, and welcome back, guys. It's been a couple weeks since we've done one of these, and quite a bit has happened, I would say, in these two or 3 weeks since our last podcast is about Resident Evil rumors, and that feels like ages ago. And here we are, only a month away from Resident Evil 3 now.
I know, we're so close.
Trey
looks so bummed out to hear about it.
Yeah, Trey's not very excited for 3.
I'm sorry.
I heard 3 is his least favorite.
It's true. It's okay. I enjoy it, so that's okay, Trey. I'll enjoy it for me and me alone.
Okay, that's fine.
I heard 13-2 was Trey's favorite Final Fantasy game of all time.
I heard 7 remake demo was trash.
I'm leaving.
Yeah, speaking of, that demo was a lot of fun, actually.
I can't believe I'm playing this right now, guys.
I can't believe I'm playing this right now.
Guys, I cannot believe I am playing this right now.
Trey had a good time with it.
Just let me know when you're done. Thank you.
Trey had a great time with it, and for good reason too. Trey's probably the most excited out of all of us, just because he's a Final Fantasy fan, and
yes,
having played the original, that definitely helps a lot. I have not.
I did not either.
Literally.
Wait. Oh yeah, show it off.
For you who can't see it, I got a tattoo of the Buster Sword and Eric's
from Monster Hunter
flowers.
Monster Hunter. The Monster Hunter Buster Sword?
Oh my god, I'm leaving. I'm done with this podcast already.
What else has happened? Yeah, we've had a fun couple weeks. I went to PAX. Kind of
went to
on
PAX?
a whim.
For that one mission and one mission alone.
For one mission, and that was to play Animal Crossing.
Can I ask a question about this? I know this isn't
Yes.
our main subject, but I got a question about this. I'm just curious. So you went there. You
Yep.
took a flight
Yep.
to play this game
Yeah.
to Boston for PAX East. You got there. Super excited, right?
Yeah.
You got to play the game.
Yeah.
Did you chop down some trees?
I did.
Did you dig up some stuff?
I did.
Did you fish?
Yep.
Did you catch some bugs?
I did.
So you did everything you could have done at home on any other Animal Crossing game.
Let me think about it. So let me talk about this first, because I actually wanted to talk about the demo, right? So
Okay.
there were 4 things to do at Nintendo's awesome booth. Like, they had this whole island set up. It was really cool. Like absolutely one of the coolest looking.
The pictures
booths
look
there.
neat.
So you got to take pictures with like the scenery that they had and the characters. Like Tom Nook and Isabelle came up. Everyone freaked out. So that was one line. Another line was just for the Isabelle pin, which that was consistently long. Like, there was always a line for that. Third line was for merch, which Animal Crossing merch sold out before 11 every single day. And then the fourth line was for the demo. Demo was about 20 minutes, if I had to guess, like to play it. And it was kind of smart the way that they set it up, because they had 3 people per station. So they had it set up for multiplayer, so that way they get a lot of people through at once. So it's one of those lines that when it moves, it moves a whole lot.
Okay, because they did that really well. What was the game they did that with Pokemon? Didn't they do something similar? Like, the Pokemon line went really well for as big as it was.
Yeah, I think it was. Well, they had a shit ton of stations in there too, because they had the whole gym set up.
Right, that's true.
So at each station, it was 3 gamers, I guess, for the lack of a better term, and then 1 Nintendo rep.
Okay.
And you know how excited I am for Animal Crossing, but I have to be completely honest. I did not enjoy the demo experience.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a world's first. Trevor has not mentioned this to, I don't think, anybody. I did not know this. Oh my God.
I might have mentioned it to Trey.
Yeah, he told me.
Really?
So,
oh man.
No, so let me explain though, because it's not what you think. So I didn't enjoy the demo experience.
Okay.
I really enjoyed the game.
Okay.
The game was great. It's a very polished Animal Crossing with a bunch of quality of life improvements. Okay. It's gorgeous. There's so many like additional options to what we already love, like more fish, more bugs, more things to craft,
Okay.
more fossils. Animal Crossing, but bigger.
Things to craft in general.
Yeah, exactly. Like just everything on a much larger scale, and the customization is just awesome.
Okay.
The demo experience wasn't enjoyable because it was guided. So you start off, you pick up the controllers, and it's the 3 gamers and the 1 Nintendo rep, and he's like, "All right, guys, so this is Animal Crossing, and this is how these are the buttons that you use. So everyone get out their axes and let's go chop some trees." So we go over there, we chop the trees. He's like, "Oh, great job! Pick up the stuff. Oh, here's a river. Let's go fish for a little bit." All right, cool. Now we caught some fish. So that was the whole experience, right?
You got your hand held throughout the whole thing.
Yeah. So it's not like I got free reign to just explore and find things that maybe I wouldn't have otherwise.
Right.
It was still very, very fun. Don't get me wrong. It was just that was
days.
Yeah, 12 days away. I can wait.
Which I can't believe how, oddly enough, I may be able to come hang out on that day because it's a random Friday and I don't get weekend days off ever. And it just so happened last week when my coworker's like, "Hey, I need to work this Friday." Like, first of all, whoever comes up and says, "I need to work on a Friday," right?
Friday, what?
He's like, "I need to work on a Friday," and you're one of the only people I can switch with. And I'm just like, well, I don't care. Like, I didn't think about the Animal Crossing aspect. I was like, I'll help you out because I don't care. It's whatever.
Yeah.
I'll take a Friday off, just take it off. And then you mentioned something the other day. I was like, wait a minute, this could work out beautifully.
It's all coming together.
Trevor set it up this way.
I took it off. KB took it off. Trey's taking it off. So
I would come up that Thursday night.
Oh
right?
yeah, we're gonna have a huge Animal Crossing party.
Okay,
it'll be fantastic. Other than that, though, the other cool part was at PAX was working the Rose City Games booth with Garden Story and Floppy Nights. That was the first time that I've gotten to work a booth at a large convention like that. Which was super cool, right? I'm there, I'm already excited about these games just as a consumer, but getting to talk to other people, getting them excited for it as well, watching them play, it was a really cool time. So I'm glad I got to experience that with them, and they were just so welcoming, very warm people, very friendly people.
That's good.
Yeah, they made, because I was worried going alone, right? It's going alone to something that large is kind of weird,
right?
Especially for someone like me that's already kind of introverted,
right?
But making friends with them, and they just helped make it a great time.
That's good.
Yeah.
Wish I could have gone.
Yeah, I wish you guys could have gone too.
Yeah.
PAX East is probably my favorite out of the 3 PAXs, just because it's
I always enjoyed PAX East. Oh, we didn't get our steak.
Oh yeah.
You know what? I think if you would have mentioned that would have won me over. I'm not gonna lie. That part would have won me over because I was and I was sick. Damn it! But that steak would have been worth it.
Yeah, I always have the best memories of PAX East because that's the one that we've all been together on.
PAX East is it's just a good time. It's well maintained. It's crowded but not overly crowded like some of the other ones can get. It's just
they have the formula down. They know what they're doing. There's no really room for error. They just have the formula right. You've got that perfect PAX recipe.
It's always a nice thing when you travel with Trevor on vacation because the food choices are always supreme. He doesn't go there for Chipotle,
We will not be eating Subway on this trip.
Right. So it's always fun because you're going to eat somewhere nice.
Yeah, that's part of the fun of kind of planning for PAXs, or just any trip in general, is finding the good food. But looking ahead, our topic of discussion today, just one of the things that we actually that happened over the couple weeks that we've kind of been away from the podcast, is some additional information around the Xbox Series X. Oh,
the most powerful Xbox ever created, Trevor.
Yes, of course, the most powerful Xbox ever created. It's kind of like a running joke for us. It's kind of I get it, right? Because that's true. That's a true statement.
Yes, it is true.
It's the most powerful Xbox they've ever created. But also, would you do anything else?
Would you come out? This is the second most powerful Xbox ever created.
Yeah, like let's mix things up a little bit.
This Xbox is pretty all right.
It's pretty okay.
The most okayest Xbox we've ever created. So,
but anyway,
yeah, we got some cool new features, I think.
Yeah.
Some of them I'll be honest, like when it comes down to like the hardware and stuff, it's a little bit over my head, but I think they explained it pretty well as far as like what these different specifications are for and what they're going to allow in this next generation, because that's the biggest thing, right? Like we've had these half generation consoles,
right,
where we've had like the PS4 and then the PS4 Pro, right, the Xbox and the Project Scorpio.
Yep.
So we've had these little steps that have had like kind of marginal increases. I wouldn't say it's anything crazy, but this is going to be a huge step. Starting with the teraflops, man. It's all about the teraflops. That's all anyone cares about.
How many were in the Xbox Scorpio? Was it 6?
Yeah, I think it's
remember.
Here. Let me confirm that for you. I knew you were going to ask me too.
Because I know they talked about the teraflops with the Xbox Scorpio.
Yeah,
about them teraflops.
Teraflops. Yeah, the Xbox One X has 6 teraflops. So we are doubling the power, the processing
doubling the
power.
teraflops.
So extra floppy this time, which is pretty cool. So looking into it, it's just going to allow for higher frame rates, larger, more immersive worlds, right? Like it's
right.
Just means that the developers can do more with games. They can make them look better. They can make them larger.
Correct.
That's what if we're going to dumb it down, that's really what that means for us.
Correct.
And that's a pretty big step. Like doubling your processing power, that's huge. So I think we'll get into this maybe in another podcast, but depending on how E3 goes, I'm interested to see some gameplay to actually see what does that look like? What does this doubling of the processing power actually look like?
I would assume it looks like what a high-end PC looks like.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, I mean, like if you're running a 2080, my guess is it looks something like that, if not a little less.
Sure. And that's probably a good segue to the other part that I'm excited for is the ray tracing coming to console.
Yes.
Because that's one thing that me personally, I really want for my computer, but I'm waiting to upgrade until NVIDIA announces.
It's some crazy stuff with ray tracing, man.
Yeah, it's nuts. So to think that we'll have that on console, that's going to be awesome.
And this is going to sound stupid and goofy, but like, look, because Microsoft now owns Minecraft, I'm sure it's going to be one of the first games that they import to this console, and it'll have ray tracing. But Minecraft looks like almost a completely different game with ray tracing turned on. It is crazy looking.
So Tim, it sounds like you probably know a little bit more about ray tracing than I do. Because when I think ray tracing, I just think like, okay, the lighting is just more dynamic, more
correct.
realistic.
The lighting is the biggest part of it. Like 100%, it's 99% of it. You get that. It's just how the lighting aspect works in the games, and because lighting is such a big deal on how your visuals look in a game, the more realistic that can become, the better that the lighting aspect of the games come. The more realistic a lot of certain things can be. So like when you're playing Call of Duty, for example, and you have ray tracing turned on, when you're in tunnels, like you'll get that more accurate sun glare from the sun shining into so you'll be able to see like dust particles in the light, and like it'll reflect a way more realistic shadow and what it should be. I mean, it enhances the features of that. And something like Minecraft, what baffles me about Minecraft is like it not only does the lighting, which is again the big part of it, but like it makes the environment, like the water in Minecraft looks way less blocky, so to speak. Like it looks like water. Like it's really neat. Yeah,
and that's you mentioned the high end PC. Like, what is this going to look like? Well, it's probably just going to look like a high end PC, and I think that's why I'm excited to see, because I haven't really seen it on my own computer, let alone a console. So I'm definitely. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, so that brings up a question actually I was talking to my friend about, right? Because we were talking about there was an article, I can't remember who wrote the article, but he brought it up to my attention. I was like, well, I wouldn't be surprised. But he brought up a kind of an interesting point. I feel like it's a point that's been talked about quite a bit. But with this console being as strong as it's supposed to be, right? So let's say it can perform as good as a high-end PC, right? Or a PC, it's like $1,500. Because a 2080 by itself is $1,300, right?
For sure.
How is this console, which I would assume to be marketable, will be around $500 to $600, right? I mean, is that
I think that's a fair guess.
Fair price. How are they doing this with this console, putting this power, making these games look this good, and a graphics card alone is twice, if not almost 3 times as much as this?
Yeah, that's a good question, and it makes me think of the I don't know if you saw the article a couple weeks ago about Sony's kind of struggling with their production costs. Like
I believe it.
They have to figure out, like, they're basically waiting for Microsoft to announce their price to see if, okay, are we going to take how much of a hit are we going to take?
Right.
How much are we willing to cut price wise? Because obviously it's a business, you want profit.
Correct.
So they're going to wait to see how much they can cut. But from what I understand, these consoles cost a lot of money to produce.
As they should. Look what's in them, right?
Exactly.
And I know, like, the Scorpio came out and they took a loss on the Scorpio, right? I think they even took I think every console they've launched, they've taken a loss on the hardware aspect of it. They get money from the software aspect of it and from the service, right? So you're paying $60 a month for Xbox Live Gold every month. So in 10 months, they just made $600 from you. So I'm sure that's where a lot of their profit comes from, is that side of things, the service and the software, whereas they plan to lose money on the console itself. The question is, how much of a loss are you, like you said, how much of a loss are you willing to take on the hardware, or
Sure.
how much can you take on the hardware to make it to where the software and the service fees are still profitable for you? Are we going to see an increased price in PlayStation Plus or PS Plus and an Xbox Live Gold to make up for? Like, these are the questions.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Right. And how many, like myself, I'm in it for, and Microsoft, as like the Game Pass, the bundle.
Yeah.
I mean, they're getting $100 of my money every year on that, and I don't know why I said, I did the math wrong in there. I said $60 a month. It's $7 or $10 a month, whatever. The point being, that I think is where
$60 a year
is $60 a year, not a month. So that's I think where the profit comes from. But yeah,
they're getting $600 a year from. I didn't process it. Like I think because I knew what you were trying to get at. It didn't even like do the math. I'm like $600 a year.
Someone's gonna listen to that part. Like, this guy,
how much Xbox, man? Damn.
Like, damn, I'm getting a steal. I'm only paying like $10 a month. Oh yeah.
But like, Trey, so I know you're more of the PlayStation side. Like, I know you don't hate Xbox. I don't think there's a person in here that like hates Xbox or hates PlayStation or hates PC, right? We're all very well rounded. Yeah. We have preferences, of course, but with you being more of a PlayStation person, knowing that, I think Sony and Xbox this time around will be pretty competitive. I think they're always competitive. I can't imagine it being too far off. I haven't seen a whole lot from the Sony side of things, but I would assume they'd be pretty competitive. Like, what do you think Sony would have to do?
I mean, I feel like the systems are going to be pretty much on par with each other. I definitely think that the PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 5 would need to have, that 120 FPS, 144 hertz, refresh, all that other jazz that the Xbox does. But I think the one leg up that it may have could be maybe better VR games now that they have.
But that's
the one leg up that, honestly, like, between the two consoles, like, they're the same. Like, the only leg up that PlayStation has at the moment is they have VR and Xbox doesn't.
And exclusives.
Right.
And exclusives.
Yeah, and I'll even give them that. I think they're exclusive titles, which that gets, that at that point starts becoming opinionated. But like the exclusives, in my opinion, I think us three agree, have been better on the PlayStation. I own my PlayStation because of the exclusives. My favorite exclusive title is on PlayStation. Like, my favorite single player game of all time is on PlayStation.
Yeah.
So like, I agree with that. And it's interesting because, like, getting back into the specs of Xbox, we have 120 FPS, which I know that'll be, developer. It's always up to them and what they can do.
Sure.
I think the biggest. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Real quick before you jump into the not statistics.
Statistics.
Yeah, before we jump into the numbers again, Tim. You mentioned the competition, right?
Yeah.
So you asked, what does PlayStation have to do? And that brings me back to something Phil Spencer said a couple weeks ago, where he said that Sony or PlayStation and Nintendo actually aren't the competition that they're looking at. The competition for them are the streaming services like Stadia.
And that's smart.
Yeah, like that's their competition. Like that's their strategy. So I think we've seen that from Microsoft for a while now, to where they're focusing on services. That's where I think Sony would need to maybe improve a little bit on. Where's that Sony Game Pass? Because
PS
you
Now?
announced that, and I'm all in.
I don't think they necessarily need it. Like, I get the whole, Xbox is doing really good with the services part of it, but PlayStation is just selling enough to where they don't have to worry about that.
And that's very okay. And look, like PlayStation has VR, and I've personally talked to Phil Spencer about VR, and that is not something they are focused on at all. That is not something that they are focused on. Which, right? Like, I get it, and VR is still very much a what's the term? It's not niche. I mean, it is, but there's a term.
Niche is the right one.
Niche, but there's a better word, gimmick. It's still a gimmicky thing, right? Like, I enjoy it. I'm not afraid I'm about to spend more money on a new headset because I really enjoy it myself. But it's still a very gimmicky thing. You're not going to have, pro games and this. I mean, maybe one day, but we're still in that phase, and hopefully it still comes out. But we
won't be there until we're done with consoles altogether.
Right. I agree that PlayStation definitely, and it kills me because the best VR game is PlayStation exclusive. Resident Evil 7 is still known to be one of the, if not the best VR experiences, a PlayStation 4 exclusive. It just blows my mind, but it really is. But I think the service aspect of things is 100% the future. And Microsoft tried to do this with the original Xbox, the Xbox One, and everyone's like, "No, you monsters! How dare you try to get ahead of the game and know where everything's going?" That's what happened, and it murdered my soul, because I'm just like, they're trying to do something, and they were going to help everything was going to be so much better. When they first announced that, they're like, look, we're going to have family game sharing, or game sharing where you have 5 of your friends and family all be able to share one game. They had the cloud service being able to be utilized in Crackdown was what they showed, being able to, like, look, our hardware is limited. We know that. We get it. But we can use the power of the cloud to help our games perform better. All this was going to happen. And everyone's like, no, we have to be connected online, which 99% of the world is. No. Like, that's what happened.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't know. I won't get too much into this, but I also think Xbox had some broken promises.
That's a whole different
you mentioned
segment.
The power of the cloud, and that just made me think of Crackdown 3.
It's the power
and like
3.
the power of 2. I just remember them showing off the power of the cloud with Crackdown 3. And then Crackdown 3 came out, 3 years after that? And
but they couldn't use the cloud stuff.
Yeah.
They couldn't use it because fans wouldn't let them get there because people yelled. And now all of a sudden we're into that stage where they knew we were going to be out with these services with all this online stuff. And now everyone's like, oh, this is super neat. And if I was Phil Spencer and the people behind Xbox, I'd be like, yeah. We know.
Told you.
We were trying to do this before.
Yeah.
But that's a bitter subject for me. I'm not going to lie. Like that whole thing, like I was so game for what they announced when the Xbox One first got announced, and the reaction hurt me so much from how people felt. Like I knew that they were giving us the future, and me and the little guys did not have a voice in the matter because everyone else was just like, yeah.
Well, we were both working at GameStop at the time, and the biggest concern was people weren't going to be able to buy used games. Remember that?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Dude,
it's.
Anyways, jump back into your numbers, Tim.
Run into my numbers. Okay, numbers time. So to me, the most important thing that I see here is the SSD storage. That's me personally, because that allows for a lot of things, right? I mean, we all know how good SSDs are, and that will help. Ideally, look, this goes back to Trevor's broken promises. Ideally, we'll get like those quick resumes, and they'll actually work, right? And
we were promised that before.
We were.
We were told,
maybe.
Hey, I very vividly remember showing that on screen. Like he's like watching a show or he's doing something.
They did it with the fighting game. What's that fighting game that came out, Trey?
Oh,
you like Instinct? It a lot. Killer Instinct.
I thought it was something with Forza. I could be remembering something different. But he's like, he's queued up for a match for something, right?
That was definitely Killer Instinct. Yep.
Yeah, he's queued up for something, then he switches back to something else, and then it lets him know that his match is ready, so he switches back.
Yep.
No.
Which, yeah.
So
maybe that was the cloud stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, and who knows how much of that like would have been if things went their original way.
Right.
But it sounds like with this new quick resume feature, we'll be able to do that for real this time. The load screens on the current gen consoles are definitely long.
They're not 7 minutes in Fallout New Vegas long like they were on the 360, but they are. I mean, Division 2.
We're making progress.
Division 2 is a great example. Division 2 on PC, you load like that almost. Me and Casey were talking about this. Division 2 on Xbox, I mean, you got a solid 30 seconds to 45-second load screen sometimes. Like, and that's a long time to just be twiddling your thumbs. So,
Which sounds silly, like when you say it out loud, like, I'm waiting 30 fucking seconds. Are you kidding me? But, yeah, I mean, when you're gaming, or even if you're watching a video, right? Like say you're just watching a video and it takes 30 seconds for it to buffer or something.
Right.
That's annoying.
Trey, I know, how often do you play your PlayStation? I know we've all kind of went more towards PC recently, but how often do you play your PlayStation?
I play a decent amount.
Did you play Final Fantasy demo was on your PlayStation, right?
Yep.
Do you have any issues with the load screens, anything? Were there much of that? I don't know.
What load screens?
Right.
Do you think like the
demo?
No, okay. I didn't know. I didn't know if like the PlayStation had load screen issues or not.
No. I play it pretty regularly. I mean, the only game that takes a while to load is Street Fighter V because that game is just not good.
Yeah.
But I mean, for the most part, yeah, I don't really have anything as far as like loading that takes too long at all. Like, I mean, I guess I'm not bothered by load times, I suppose, but
wow, must be nice.
Sorry, I'm patient.
So, with us getting SSD storage, we know it's more expensive, right? By a landslide, generally. Not as bad as it used to be.
It's gotten better.
Yeah,
right.
It's gotten a lot better.
But with the size of games, like Call of Duty is like 100 gigs, 120 gigs, right, for one game. Mm-hmm. With the size of games nowadays, how much storage do you think they're going to give you on your consoles, on both PlayStation and Xbox? On the new gen consoles, how much storage do you think we get to start with because of the size of games?
Terabyte
nowadays?
Minimum.
Yeah, I was just about to say, bare minimum, you got to go terabyte. And
Special editions, anything bigger than that, probably 3.
Yeah, I think they're definitely. I would hope that they would offer multiple sizes, like kind of like what they. Well, I don't know. I guess with interchangeable, storage options like they have now, maybe they don't need to do that. But I would like the option for someone that maybe is going to do more like Game Pass oriented things, to where they're only going to download a couple games at a time, delete them, and then install new ones. But maybe someone like you, Tim, to where you have multiple games that you're consistently playing at the same time. Large games like Call of Duty, Division. Whatever else Tim's into, Fallout 76 sometimes.
Coming back, April. Going back.
So, well, with Resident Evil, we'll see. We'll see if that
takes you
away from.
It's gonna be an interesting month, man.
Yeah, you're gonna be so conflicted and probably moving. So,
it's a very big chance. It's gonna be a very interesting time.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's
So, the other side of that coin.
Yeah,
is with the streaming services. This would probably be more Xbox and PlayStation, I would assume, because they have their xCloud stuff. With that becoming more like relevant and easily, do you think they'll have an option as well? Not necessarily like on the console, but like you have your Xbox One Series X that's sitting there, and you just bought a game.
Yeah,
and you could download it, probably have a better performance, right? because you're physically down. But they give you the option to stream it versus downloading it. Like, hey, you can stream the game if you'd rather just play it now because we can do that now. Do you think that becomes an option versus downloading the game?
Is that Stadia that does that to where you don't
Stadia, you don't download. I mean, you buy a game.
You can download games now.
Yeah. I mean, that's an interesting concept. And especially Phil Spencer said that that's their competition is, are really the streaming services like Stadia.
Right.
Maybe that is something that they look into. They already released the discless Xbox, right?
Wait. Did they have a discless? I don't think they had a discless.
Maybe it was just Xbox. It was just the cheaper one then? I thought they had a discless one.
I think it was a rumor. I don't think it ever came out.
Yeah, it never existed. They have an Xbox
Well, in my mind, it exists, okay? And it's great for people that only use Game Pass.
Because the streaming services have showed us, I mean, I'd say of the services I've played the most out of, like xCloud, Stadia, and NVIDIA, NVIDIA is probably the best. Like, hands down, actually, in terms of latency and stuff. They have shown us that the almost no latency aspect of streaming the game can work. So if you can get that kind of power to work with a standard home internet connection where you notice a very little difference. I mean, maybe I wouldn't do it for those hardcore competitive. Like Trey, you wouldn't want to do that for a fighting game. That it just it just would not work. But for something that's more mellow, like that might be your option. You stream it versus downloading it. Phil Spencer, hire me. I'm available.
Yeah. Honestly, man, with the way that technology is moving with 5G, us having gigabit speeds on mobile devices, completely wirelessly.
Right.
I would be willing to bet that this is the last console, kind of as we know it, that we have. Like, this console will be around for a while, but then after that, we're looking at services.
I think Sony's going to stick with the consoles.
I would agree.
I really do. I don't, because they don't have a PC market, because that's the thing about Microsoft. They can just incorporate their console into their PCs eventually and just, they can do something like that.
So like 10 years from now, right?
Yep.
Which I know is hard to do. But with just how fast we're moving with 5G, and who knows what that'll look like in 10 years. You think we'll still have a box with physical discs underneath your TV?
I think maybe not so much physical disc, but I bet Sony still releases a box of some sort.
Yeah, I think so. Sony just doesn't have the PC infrastructure that Microsoft already has, but they've been building on for years now.
Same for Nintendo. We'll get something from Nintendo for sure.
Nintendo is not going to get everything. They don't have cloud services happening.
Yeah, soon. They need to work on their online service in general.
Yeah,
but that's again a whole nother topic.
Yeah.
I hope we get another Switch though soon. Just going to throw that in there. I really hope we get a Switch 2.0.
I'm getting another Switch this Friday.
Oh, did you wind up getting that?
Oh yeah.
I knew you would.
That way, I can dock it in my room when I go to bed. And when I get home from work, I can dock it in the living room. And when I go to bed, I can dock it back in the bedroom.
Question is, which one are you going to show off in the living room?
Huh? It'll just be the dock. The one that's my original Switch, I'm going to do something with.
But what dock is going to be in the living room?
Which one probably the Animal Crossing one.
You're not going to just keep that to yourself in the bedroom so you can just look at it at night before you sleep?
Yeah, just
like the last thing you see.
My nightstand. Good night, Tom Nook.
But yeah. So
looking into the next part, this is one of them that besides ray tracing, one of the ones I'm most excited about is the smart delivery. Okay. Is the term that they coined, to where if they used Cyberpunk for an example a couple weeks ago. So we're going to buy Cyberpunk. Well, Tim's probably going to buy Cyberpunk on Xbox this September. And that means later this holiday, when he gets his Xbox Series X, he'll automatically have the upgraded version for the Xbox Series X.
Even if it's a physical copy?
Huh?
Even if it's a physical copy? Because I got the collector's edition.
Yeah.
So,
did you choose? So, here's my thought. I don't have an answer for you, Tim. I'm not Phil Spencer. You ask him.
Okay.
My thought is, you have the disc, right?
Right. Disc.
And the disc, huh?
Disc.
Yeah. So you're gonna have the disc. The Xbox Series Xbox Series X is backwards compatible, right?
X6.
XXX. Tricky. The
Such
console's backwards compatible. You put in the disc and install it. I would think that the technology would be
that
smart
makes
enough
sense.
to where you basically just download a...
Because you can do that with 360 versions right now. Like I can literally put a backwards compatible 360 game in my Xbox One X and play it as long as it's backwards compatible. That makes complete sense. Yeah.
So that's how I would see it.
Like you're basically just downloading a patch.
Yeah. Essentially, it just the console just needs to read. Okay, yeah, he owns this game.
And I like that it just bases it on, like, say you still play your Xbox One X in your bedroom or something tonight.
Right.
Like it'll automatically swap between the, like, whichever version is, set for the console that you're playing on.
That's really cool.
That'd be nice.
Because the cloud saves are really, really nice. Like, and it works so well.
So as cool of a feature as it is, it's really only going to be cool for like the first year, right? Like until we're going to be in that period to where games are going to be launching on both, just like we were when the Xbox One and PS4 first came out. You had Call of Duty on 360 and Xbox
Correct.
One. So we're going to be in that for 6 months to a year probably.
Sure.
I honestly don't. I left GameStop kind of just a couple months after the console's launch. So I never really got to see what that transition looked like, probably as well as you did, Tim. But yeah, after that first year or so, it's not going to be as cool of a feature in my.
Didn't Microsoft come out and say every game that's on the Xbox One Series X will be playable on the Xbox One?
Yeah.
So,
wait, will be playable on the Xbox Series X?
Mm-hmm. No. So I thought they said any game on the Xbox One Series X will be playable on the original Xbox One. Like the opposite of backwards
Gotcha. So
compatible.
next gen's playable on current gen.
Correct.
Is what you're saying.
Yep.
Which is interesting because I don't know how that's going to work, but I do remember them saying something like that. Because I remember my main concern when I heard that, because I had a concern. I was like, oh, that's great. But here's my concern. So what happens when there's this game that is just super amazing, powerful looking, and it was built to be on these next-gen consoles only? Are you just going to have to back up that train and be like, okay, well, other than this game? And then like that, I don't know, but that was question.
Yeah, I feel like I've heard that before, and I assume it works similar to the smart delivery system.
I mean,
because
good on them
they
if
don't want to
can
release
downscale
something
all the
that's
games.
Huh?
It's like good on them if they can downscale all the games that
yeah,
need it.
because you don't want to release Halo Infinite and then exclude the people that can't afford such a high-end system right away.
That have had your console since it was announced, and you're just like, you gotta buy another one.
Yeah, for sure. So I feel like I heard that somewhere, but I don't want to say it's 100% true. But yeah, I think that is accurate, Tim.
Yeah.
And then of course we've got Game Pass, right?
Yes,
that's going to continue to be a thing going into this next generation. So
it's the best thing that's happened to Xbox and gaming in general.
It's so
since
good.
the Nintendo Switch. Easily.
Halo Infinite on your day one on your new system, and you're just paying $10 a month. And that's just one of the games you get, right? Games as a service is nuts, man. I feel like we say it
Outer
like every other
for free. We got the Outer Worlds for free when it came out.
Yeah,
I found out
insane.
A game that I wanted to play is just on there. It came out in like December. What the heck was I can tell you what it was called? Because I was super stoked to see it on there, and I was like, oh my god, Phoenix Point, which is the people who make XCOM.
I forgot about that.
They put it out on the one for PC too, which is even better. So I can get my achievements and play it on PC.
Yeah.
So like,
Zach, man.
So like, that's just amazing, and it works. Like PlayStation Now is a thing, but PlayStation Now kind of sucks. Like, I'm just be honest with you. I was actually excited for PlayStation Now. I was genuine. I was like, this is a cool concept, because that was before Game Pass was ever even a thing. Like PlayStation was ahead of them on that aspect of things. They just kind of let it die. And it was it's like $40 a month.
Yeah.
It was expensive, and it didn't work very well for the price. It was one of those things. They were ahead of their time with the concept. I'll give them that. But then they just never followed up with it. They just
not
let
on the
it
execution.
Yeah, they just let it die. It's still there. You can do it, but they just because they're all about playing. Like, hey, we have the service. You're gonna be able to play this on TVs, on your phones, on anything. It's the whole point of it. It's a streaming service, and it just
because think about the difference in libraries too.
Oh yeah,
like PlayStation definitely has a a vaster library than Microsoft does for sure, right?
I just wanted to play Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3 anywhere I wanted. Like, that was my main excitement for it. I was super thrilled, and it just never happened.
Yeah. I mean, beyond that, we don't. The rest is kind of up in the air. Maybe we'll see some continued support with Project xCloud. You know,
they fucking better keep up with support on that.
Because I know they're still working on iOS right now. Because the only game on there right now is Master Chief Collection.
Right.
But who knows? We'll probably have more details in the
baby.
Coming months with E3 or what other.
Yeah, I heard a lot of that issues Apple like in general.
Huh?
I heard a lot of the issues with like that, the xCloud stuff is Apple. Like Apple is just not
for sure
giving them the go ahead.
100%. They just lock everything down too much, man. Yeah. Yep.
But no one complains about them not wanting to do crossplay. So.
What?
Nothing. I just remember everyone was giving PlayStation shit for not wanting to do crossplay, and then now that Microsoft wants to do stuff with Apple, and they're not helping out too much. It's like,
Apple.
I don't understand the correlation there.
Just because Apple likes to lock all their stuff down, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but then it's the same thing with Sony. Sony wants to keep everything locked down and tight with them. So if people are getting mad at Sony for it, they should get mad at Apple. Apple. Yeah.
Yep. I am right there with you 100%. Like, stop it. Let gamers be free to play with who they want. Like, if I'm not joking. I'm one of those people. I'm not necessarily a diehard Android fan, right? I like my Android for the reasons I like it. But I'm not like, if Apple had something big, let's say let's flip it. Apple has xCloud support and Android doesn't get xCloud support. My ass would probably go to Apple because I don't care about it that much to where I'd rather have the service that I want, right? So that literally can be a deal breaker. I bought an iPad to play Fortnite back when I was in there in the Fortnite game. Like, I bought an iPad. I was like, okay, if it's only coming to iPads right now, I'll buy an iPad. And sure as shit, it did. So I bought an iPad. So there are a lot of consumers out there like myself who go for the services, not so much what the phone is, right? So if Apple would allow this and doesn't allow this, there's going to be people who are just like, okay, if you're telling me I can play my Xbox games on an Android phone, but I can't play it on an iPhone, I'm going to go to Android.
The thing about the Half-Life stuff with the Index, man. Like, how many people are picking up an Index just for Half-Life?
And granted, I mean, you can play Half-Life on the current system, the headset. I can play Half-Life on my Vive. But the Index with like that 120 refresh rate, dude, that alone sold it to me. Like,
and I guess that was my point. Like, people like the hardcore fans are going to want to play it on the, like, they want to play it the best way they can, right?
Correct. They're right. So, I want the best experience that I can get for that. So, like, if Resident Evil 8 comes out and they have a VR thing, I want the best VR headset of the time when that comes out because I want to have that experience. Yeah. Which I heard is rumored, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, and that'll be a tough thing for me because I'll have to buy it twice because Microsoft's not going to have a VR headset, so I have to buy it from Microsoft to get my achievements, and I'll have to buy it in VR. I think I'd run through it first on VR, though. I'm almost positive I would if Resident Evil 8 came out, and almost positive.
That would be who knows what that'll be like.
I know. That's, again, another time, another place.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm looking forward to what the future holds for Xbox, man. All these 15 game studios now that they've got under their belt. Mm-hmm. So I'm hoping to see a lot more from them with this new launch. They're always huge supporters of indie games. That paired with Game Pass, it opens up a lot for people that maybe not take a look at indie games otherwise, but they're subscribed to Game Pass for Gears or Halo or whatever. Makes it more accessible for people that might not check them out otherwise.
Yeah.
Any last minute thoughts on the Series X?
They just got to bring the games, dude. Just bring the games.
I think the games are important.
Numbers
I think,
and stuff, I'm not too fond of. Teraflops, flip-flops, I don't care.
Flip-flops.
You call it whatever you want. You could call it 12 carnival clowns, and I'm not going to care about it. Like, give me the games.
Well, I wouldn't care if they called it that either.
I'm here to play the games. Best way
I think, yep.
That's way they look. And if they don't bring that, I'm not going to say it's going to be a failure. They're not going to do as good as PlayStation.
Yeah. It's fair enough.
We haven't even seen anything from them yet. I'm excited to hear more.
Yeah.
From them for sure.
I think I agree with Trey. I mean, they got to have they have to have a big game library lineup, right? Like they got to come out with Halo clearly, which I wish. You know what? No, they need to come out with something new. They need to have some new IPs. But I think going alongside with that, with the games, like as important as games are, they need the services. Like they always bring the services, so they need to capitalize on that, because that right now I think is their bread and butter. Because I think they know they lost the exclusives. They lost the exclusive war. Like I don't think anyone would deny that they lost the exclusive war. Like that just happened. But if they can get some good titles, because that's what they need, like Trey said, they need some good games that give Trey a reason to buy the system. You know, but on top of that, if they can bring a better online experience. They can bring a better service experience with other services that they can do, like Game Pass, and they can capitalize on that and add more to stuff like that. Make it to where, okay, yes, PlayStation has this game, right? But Xbox has the same game, but my experience on this is better because X, Y, and Z. They allow me to do X, Y, and Z. People would go. Like, give people a reason, and this is for PlayStation 2. PlayStation would need to do the same thing. Give me a reason if I have both games on A and B, like, because right now the main reason is where your friend's at, right? Like that's the main reason. But we're getting to the point to where that's not going to be the reason anymore because you can crossplay. So now I need a reason to choose which one do I want to go with, because which one's going to have the better experience.
Or the experience for you, right?
Correct. For me as an individual.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think that was a solid discussion, at least around Series X for now.
Yeah.
Like we said, hopefully more details in the coming months. Hopefully we can do one of these around the PS5 once we get some solid detail. Solid details there. We've got a few other things to discuss in the meantime in the next episode. So we'll wrap up episode 71 for now. Appreciate you guys tuning in as always. If you got any thoughts on the Series X, let us know in Discord, comments, whatever is easiest for you guys. Let us know, what you think the future holds for the Series X or PlayStation 5. We'd love to hear from you. Let us know what you'd like to hear us talk about next. And until episode 72, we'll see you guys then.
Later, guys.
Thanks for listening to FAMcast. Be sure to subscribe for the latest episodes and follow us on Twitch, Twitter, and our other socials at For All Manakind.